The Bible describes exactly how the conflict with Iran will end. And it is terrifying. Not one prophecy. 4. Written across 3 centuries by 3 different prophets who never met, never collaborated, and never knew the empire they called Persia would become the center of modern global anxiety. And all 4 are activating right now. These prophecies are not scattered fragments. They are a sequence. Each one sets up the next. Together, they tell one complete story about a single nation whose destiny was sealed in ink 2,600 years before it made its first headline. What is happening in Iran right now? In its military, in its government, in its alliances, and in a movement exploding underground that the regime cannot stop, was already written. All of it. And it starts with a single Hebrew word in the book of Jeremiah that almost no one is talking about. Prophecy 1. I will break the bow of Elam. Everyone in the prophecy world talks about Ezekiel 38. Almost nobody talks about Jeremiah 49. But Jeremiah's prophecy is older than Ezekiel's, more geographically specific, and it targets a precision that should stop every serious student of Scripture cold. Before we examine the prophecy, we need to establish who Elam is. Ancient Elam was located in what is now the southwestern region of Iran, modern Khuzestan and Bushehr provinces, stretching along the Persian Gulf coastline. This is not a vague ancient region with no modern equivalent. This is a precisely identifiable geography. And here is the detail that locks the identification. In Daniel 8:2, the prophet Daniel received his vision while standing in Susa, in the province of Elam. The prophet was physically standing on the ground that this prophecy targets. God was not speaking in abstractions. He was pointing at a specific place on a specific map. Now, hear what Jeremiah 49:35 declares. God says, I will break the bow of Elam, the foremost of their might. The Hebrew word translated bow is kesheth. And kesheth does not mean general military strength or national power in a vague sense. Kesheth specifically and precisely means the primary long-range offensive weapon, the instrument of war that projects force at a distance. In the ancient world, the bow was the weapon that could strike an enemy before he could reach you. It was the standoff capability, the long-range threat, the asset that made a military power dangerous beyond its own borders. In 2026, the modern equivalent of Kesheth is not difficult to identify. It is ballistic missiles, long-range drones, nuclear development capability, the entire infrastructure of Iran's power projection, its ability to strike targets far beyond its own borders without direct engagement. That is the Kesheth of Elam, and God said he will break it. Now hear the geographic bombshell. The Bushehr nuclear power plant, Iran's most significant nuclear facility, the crown jewel of its nuclear program, sits directly on ancient Elamite territory. The underground enrichment sites, the most sensitive components of Iran's nuclear infrastructure, are located in this same region. The prophecy that targets Elam's Kesheth was aimed with precision at the exact geography where Iran's nuclear program is physically located today. That is not coincidence. That is prophetic engineering. By June 2025, the International Atomic Energy Agency confirmed that Iran had stockpiled 440 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60% purity. Enough, if further enriched, to fuel 9 nuclear weapons. 99% of the enrichment work required to reach weapons grade had already been completed. The bow was fully loaded. Then during the 12-day war in June 2025, U.S. and Israeli strikes hit Natanz, Fordow, and Isfahan, 3 of Iran's most critical nuclear facilities. The IAEA Director General later confirmed that while significant